The Detroit Red Wings have made multiple surprising roster moves this morning that have serious implications on the goaltending moving forward. And head coach Todd McLellan has some updates and insight on the situation. And of course, a major update on what the trade deadline plans are and the latest on the trade buzz around the Red Wings as we creep closer and closer to this year's NHL trade deadline. We're going to break that all down and more in this episode of Red Wings Digest. But before we get into all of that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. We've noticed that still about 95% of you guys who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the Red Wings, it's free to subscribe. It's free to hit that follow button on Facebook as well. We see all you guys over there on Facebook, and help us reach our new goal of 5,000 subscribers. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. Thank you so much, everybody, for the support on the channel, allowing us to hit 2,000 subscribers already. But let's waste no more time. Let's get right into it. Lots to get to today. The Red Wings have made multiple roster moves. Of course, we knew that Erik Gustafsson was on waivers yesterday. He clears. He's going back down to Grand Rapids. I'm glad we got that out of the way, because holy smokes, do we ever have some news here with John Gibson, because the Red Wings have officially recalled this morning, and this just happened, Sebastian Cossa from the Grand Rapids Griffins on an emergency basis, under emergency conditions. Now, this could mean a lot of things. This could mean maybe he's called up just to take the morning skate. Maybe he's called up just to play in this game. We'll get into that, and obviously we have some insight and what's actually happening tonight in the game. Of course, this is still early on, and anything can change closer to game time. But it looks like John Gibson, with that injury he sustained in the last game and left, will not be playing against the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. And John Gibson has been phenomenal so far this season, rocking an above average save percentage in the league. Again, goals against average to me is more of a team stat, and their 5-on-5 play this season, they're having a tough go. The Red Wings are having a tough go 5-on-5, but you can see this in terms of ranking in the league, one of the best in the league. Now, Sebastian Cossa, in his small sample size, in the NHL, has been okay over the course of his career. But if you take a look at his entire stat line from this year, and when I say, his entire career in the NHL, I mean his one game that we've seen him play last season. But in terms of the AHL this year, he is rocking a .927 save percentage and a goals against average of 199. He's under 2 goals against average this year. He's been unbelievable. This is the next stud in net for this organization moving forward. Of course, they went out last offseason and finally figured out the goaltending with Steve Yzerman getting John Gibson, but he is getting older. But Sebastian Cossa is the next guy. All of that to say, this is pretty interesting and a little concerning, because hopefully John Gibson's not out for an extended period of time. Now, you look at the morning skate this morning, Sebastian Cossa was out there. If it was up to me, I would actually have him starting. I know the NHL and the AHL, there's a big gap there. He only has one NHL game of experience that he did look fine in to me. But, when moving forward now, I think that he could, possibly get the start, and he's been playing great in the AHL, so why not ride that confidence? We'll get into what's actually happening in a second as well. But of course, Cam Talbot has been very serviceable for this team this year, and if he has to carry the load for a little bit, I wouldn't say I have the utmost confidence in that, and let me know how you feel about that in the comments below. But he hasn't been as bad as people make him out to be. Again, about a league average goaltender, and he's your backup at this point. So to me, can he carry the load? I wouldn't feel confident saying that he's going to be able to do that, but hopefully John Gibson is not out for an extended period of time. It is just an emergency call-up for Sebastian Cossa from the Grand Rapids Griffins, so hopefully it's nothing too serious. But I did want to mention, I did mention this in a previous video with Mark, that Anthony Stolarz from the Toronto Maple Leafs had a similar issue where they thought it was nothing. It was an upper body injury, and then he was dealing with a nerve issue and was out for 2 months. So I'm not saying it's the same thing, but hopefully it's not the same thing as that, and hopefully he's back into action soon, because Todd McLellan did say it just looked like a stinger and nothing too serious. So hopefully he's ready to go. And again, John Gibson left Monday's game, an afternoon game, by the way, which was pretty weird, but he said that it was kind of just like a stinger. So hopefully it's just precautionary. Maybe he even goes tonight. It's an emergency call-up, but I doubt that. And I think that hopefully he'll be ready for their next game, which we'll get into the schedule in a little bit as well. But some more updates on that specifically. Sebastian Cossa with the call-up suggests that John Gibson will not be playing. We'll find out the morning skate if Cossa, who heads who leads, the AHL in wins with 24. He's third in goals against average at under 2, which is crazy that he's even third, and save percentage with a 927. And will make his first NHL start of the season, or he'll be backing up Cam Talbot. Now, we do have some, I wouldn't say confirmation just yet. At the point of this recording, Todd McLellan hasn't spoken out yet. Looks like Cam Talbot is in the starters net, though, this morning. And you know how NHL coaches are at this point. I would expect nothing less that Cam Talbot will go because he has the experience. Todd McLellan would probably trust him more, although if it was up to me, I would have Sebastian Cossa in net. So let me know how you feel about that. Sebastian Cossa has been recalled from the Grand Rapids Griffins. He's having a fantastic season. Looks like he will back up, and hopefully John Gibson is not out for an extended period of time, because that would be detrimental to this team's success down the stretch. Because if you take a look at the standings, especially the Atlantic Division standings, they're still in a playoff spot. They're in the 3rd spot there now. Montreal's bumped down to a wild card spot. But in terms of the entire league, or not the entire league, the entire conference, you have to keep up here, because you got Boston right there, Montreal. There is a little bit of a gap, obviously, but you have to keep going. And I don't necessarily mind the Detroit Red Wings starting on the road in the playoffs, but I think if you fall to a wild card spot, you are definitely in trouble heading into the playoffs. Do not want to face one of Carolina or Tampa. I have no appetite for that. You have to stay either in that 2 or 3 spot. And it's been a tough March. And you know, it's been tough for them 5-on-5 the whole season as well. Like, the stats are not very kind to this team, and the analytics to this team 5-on-5, so they're gonna have to find a way to get going here. So thought this was pretty interesting this morning as well, that this is from David Pagnotta. I'm curious about Detroit, and they have expressed interest in Rasmus Ristolainen before. Obviously, they're still waiting to see what happens with Tyler Myers. Sounds like things have really quieted on the Red Wings front in terms of trade chatter right now, because they're waiting to see what Tyler Myers is deciding to do. To me, if Tyler Myers is taking this long to decide, I don't think you want the guy anyway. I mean, you got to go out and make another trade. Do I love Rasmus Ristolainen? No, I think there's better right shot defensemen on the market. Even if you have to pay a little bit more, you're getting guys that are better with terms. So I'd rather do that. And you don't have to worry about salary cap space like with a Justin Falk who makes 6.5, because the Red Wings have a plethora of salary cap space. That is for sure currently standing. You can see here with a current cap space and deadline cap space of almost $60 million, which is crazy. And their projected cap is 12.7 right now. And they got the draft capital to make pretty much anything work and anything worthwhile for any other team, including a Robert Thomas trade, which it sounds like as of this morning has cooled down a little bit. But let me know how you feel in the comments below. Sebastian Cossa has been recalled. John Gibson looks like he's not going to play. Hopefully he's not out long term, because you got a pretty, eventful, pretty busy schedule coming up with Vegas tonight. You got Florida on Friday. They're kind of in free fall mode as well. That's going to be an interesting game Friday, because that's going to be right after the trade deadline, and both of these teams should be pretty active. And then you got New Jersey, Florida again in Florida, Tampa again in Florida, and then Dallas next Saturday. So pretty eventful schedule. They got to be ready to go. You got to pick up some points here. And if you're without John Gibson, I don't know if I have the utmost confidence, but I think this team can get it done. But they're going to have to dig deep. They got to get some points here, and they have to stay in that playoff race. Not just the playoff race, they have to stay in that 2 or 3 position in the Atlantic Division. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything Detroit Red Wings.